Welcome to Speakeasy Spirits. You may notice I'm wearing a few extra layers today, and that's because we're in the middle of the big, severe winter storm that's hitting most of the United States. Right now, the streets are covered in ice, and you may not know this about me, but I hate ice. With so many people trapped inside, I wanted to share a couple of good cocktail recipes. But first, I want to address some of the reasons I haven't made a video in a while. For me, cocktails are part of happy occasions. I don't drink when I'm sad or angry. Nothing good can come from that. But lately, there's been a lot of reasons to be depressed and a lot of reasons to be really angry. A lot of people might look at the state of the world today and think, man, I really need a stiff drink. But for me, I need to do something. So I've come back down to the bar to make some videos for you guys. I want to stay out of politics and out of the controversies and just help you guys make good drinks. Cocktails are supposed to bring people together, so today I want to share two completely apolitical, nonpartisan cocktail recipes with you. The first one is named the Orange Nightmare, and it breaks a lot of the laws of cocktail making. The second drink is going to be a variation on a mule, sometimes also referred to as a jackass, and it's going to be combined with the ingredients from a porn star martini. I like to call it a dark and stormy Daniels. Now this first cocktail, the Orange Nightmare, which I picked completely at random and has no deeper hidden meanings, is based on a classic cocktail from the 1930s called the Nightmare Cocktail. The original was a combination of gin, aromatized wine, cherry brandy, and orange juice. But we're going to mix things up a little bit and make this thing very unnaturally orange. This is a shaken cocktail, so we'll start with our shaker tin and half an ounce of orange juice. Next we need 1 ounce of gin. I'm going to use Beefeater, but really the gin doesn't matter. You could use any London Dry, Contemporary, whatever you happen to have on hand. And that's going to be 1 ounce. In place of the cherry brandy of the original, we're going to use an orange liqueur. You could use triple sec or a curacao. In this case, I'm going to use this curacao. This is Grand Imperial, and it's a pretty cheap one from Total Wine. We need half an ounce. The final ingredient in the original is an aromatized wine, which usually means a vermouth, but in this case, I think the Orange Nightmare needs some bitterness. So we're going to go with another orange-colored drink, Aperol. This will add some bitterness and some sweetness. It's one of the sweeter of the bitter red liqueurs. But we're going to go with 1 full ounce to really get that bitterness that the Orange Nightmare deserves. To chill and dilute it, we're going to shake it with some ice. Now I've only added 4 small ice cubes because whenever you have too much ice, bad things can happen. The original Nightmare cocktail would have been served in a coupe glass without ice. But the Orange Nightmare, we're going to need a large ice ball and a glass. Now you want to make sure your glass has plenty of room for the ball. The Orange Nightmare needs ball room. Now we're going to strain this. And take your leftover ice and get rid of it. And there you have the Orange Nightmare. It's unnaturally orange and somewhat bitter. Now, I really want to hate this cocktail and everything it stands for, but this is actually a pretty good combination. I may have to find a new name for this. The herbal notes of the gin are really elevated by the bitterness of the Aperol, but it's not an overly bitter cocktail. It's well balanced with the sweetness of the orange juice, but unlike a lot of orange juice cocktails, that orange juice flavor doesn't take over. This is actually pretty nice. Our second drink, the Dark and Stormy Daniels, is a take on a Dark and Stormy, which is really a dark rum mule. Mules are generally a spirit and ginger beer with maybe a little bit of lime. We're going to combine that with the signature ingredient of the porn star martini, a passion fruit liqueur, and see what happens when a jackass meets a porn star. A Dark and Stormy traditionally starts with Gosling's dark rum. But I was thinking for this cocktail, I wanted to try it with a Venezuelan rum. Unfortunately, in the middle of the night, somebody illegally invaded and took the Venezuelan. So I'm going to fall back on this 10-to-1 Caribbean rum because nobody's taken the Caribbean yet. This is 10-to-1 Caribbean Dark. You may notice it's darker than a Myers or a Gosling dark rum, but those use a lot of artificial color. This is going to be a little more natural. It's got a great flavor. This specific bottle is the Black History Month edition, and it's a really good rum. So to our shaker, we're going to go with 2 ounces of our Caribbean Dark. For the porn star addition to this cocktail, we're going to go with Chinola Passion Fruit Liqueur. Now, unlike a lot of liqueurs, I find the Chinola brand is a little less sweet, a little less sugary. This has a nice tartness to it. We're going to go about 3/4 of an ounce here. I really want to make sure you can taste it. Now, before we add the ginger beer, we're going to give this a shake to chill it down and dilute it a bit. Now, because this is going to contain a lot of ice, really shake the hell out of it and break up that ice. A dark and stormy would traditionally be served in a rocks glass, but we're going to go with something bigger because I want this to really stand up to the ice. Now we're going to pour this in. Now we're going to top that with some ginger beer. For this one, I'm going to use this Fever Tree Blood Orange ginger beer. And we just want to bring that up to the top of the glass. And if there's any room left over, add a little bit more ice. A traditional garnish for a dark and stormy would be a wedge of limes. But a good garnish for a dark and stormy Daniels, I think, would be a camera phone. Because whenever there's so much ice involved, you probably should record. This is a really good variation on a mule. The blood orange and passion fruit really round it out with a nice fruitiness. You've got a little bit of spice from the ginger, and then that Caribbean rum really adds some nice deep molasses flavors. These 2 cocktails really came out nice, and I'd like to keep exploring some good cocktails. In the future, I'd like to look at some international cocktails. Maybe we can start working our way east with our 2 closest neighbors, Greenland and Cuba, and see what we can take from them. And maybe we can explore the history of some international cocktails. Back in the early 1930s, America was still under prohibition and bars weren't open. But in other countries, they were still mixing up drinks. I hear in the early 30s, Germany was really mixing it up. We might be able to learn something from that. If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to share this with other friends who might enjoy cocktails like this. And if you didn't like this video, please unsubscribe and go ahead and leave me a nasty message in the comment section. And if you're somebody who wants your voice to be heard, but you're afraid that angry comments might come at you like a hailstorm of bullets, I encourage you to get out there and do something with your voice. Let people know what you think. Even if it's in a roundabout, somewhat creative way of getting your message out there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.